as you can see, I've managed to lay down some basic base colours for the figure. I'm going to concentrate on the face for this video. Highlight, shadows, all that good stuff. Alright, so I've got my wet palette here. As you can see, I've got my basic colours here, which is made up of Vallejo flat blue, and then some AK colours of the new Gen 3 light flesh, highlight flesh, shadow flesh, and last but not least, see this one just down here is British Tanker highlight. I wanted a yellowy sand colour, so that'll do. So that's with the Panzer Aces range. So I've generally just been mixing some colours together just to get a few tones. So I'll just pull the palette into shot. You can see I've got the basic sort of fleshy tones there up into highlights. We've got sort of a greeny grey, a violet tone, a pinky red, whatever. Good rule of thumb I've found from my own personal point of view is to get your basic colours and then like mix a lot of different shades up. You are going to dip in and out of different colours to make what works and what doesn't work, what you like and what you don't like. So again, when I'm basing up a figure's face, the base coat can vary from a sandy colour to like this one here, which is a bit of more of a, I suppose, a really light, very light purple. Depending on how that shows up on the cam to you guys, but again, your base coat is your base coat. You're going to go over it anyway, and we're going to be using super thin layers really with the acrylics, so you're just building up gradually. Again, this is my personal way of doing it. Other people can go, you can go straight into your hard highlights, straight into your hard shadows, and then blend them in. Or hard shadows to hard highlight, whichever way suits you, whichever way you're comfortable. At the end of the day, this is all about having fun. Okay, whatever's comfortable for you, and if you're happy with the results, that's all that matters. So I've got my number 2. Where is it? There we go. My number 2 Winsor & Newton Series 7. This is not the miniature series. This is just a normal one. So you've got a proper nice tip with a good point, which again is going to help. Okay. So what I'm going to begin with, which I have started a little bit off cam just to do a bit of a colour test, but as you can see, perhaps under the eyes, side of the nose, there is a little bit of shading, which I've been using this sort of lilac-y colour. It's very, very thin, not strong at all. Okay, and that is just to add some initial shadows. Okay, so again, just under his eyebrows. Okay, and then under his eyes where the eye bags would be. Okay, this is going to look really strong, but again, when you've gone over it with some of the layers like the highlight layer or the base flesh layer, which is really your blending colour, this will all be toned down. Alright, so again, try and keep it on cam. Okay, look under there, look under there. Alright, we're going to have a shadow as well where this sort of hood meets. So again, just shade a bit in there. Alright, we'll have that separation. Then under the chin, under the nose, and then under the lip. So this is just mapping out where your shadows are going to go. Okay, there's obviously the side of the nose as well. and under this bit here. Okay, paint on the brush. Around there. And again, where the nose in this corner and the frown lines, I suppose, in there. So there we go. So just a general sort of shadow we've just put in there. Again, like I've just stated, we're just mapping out the contours of the face. So I'm going to move on to a highlight tone at the minute, which is going to be sort of the bridge of the nose, but not this bit, okay, because this guy's going to be set, like I've said before, in 1944 in December. So cold and wet. So, you know, he's going to have a rosy nose, he's probably going to have rosy cheeks, and, you know, probably not feeling his best, to be fair. I'm just going to take a bit of a highlight tone here. Again, we need to be a little bit, I might add a touch of blue just to knock a bit of that off. Alright. So what we're going to do is just tap in motion. Okay. Under the eyes. Chin. Just at the top of the lips as well, just under the nose, not too much because obviously that could gonna be, most of that's going to be in shadow. We'll do this, but that's where his eyebrows are going to go, so just above the eyebrows, where the eyebrows are going to be. Okay. Around the nose as well, so just this part where the nostrils are. Again, that's going to put a bit of definition around that part. So you see, we're going to start sketching in some of the highlights. This is going to make the face more three-dimensional. Push the highlights forward and the shadows back. Okay, so don't be afraid just to go over where you've added a bit of shadow under the eye bag, because what that'll do is just blend it in to the general skin tone. Okay. We'll clean the brush. I'll show you where we're at. So there we go. Some general highlights and shadows. Right, now it's going to come to detail painting. Which again, one thing to be aware of with acrylics is that might look bright now, give it a few hours and it will die back. They do fade back, so you might need to go back in, touch up the highlights again, touch in your shadows just to punch it, give it a bit of life back. Okay, well, you know, there we go. So I reckon once, take his helmet off. Once we've painted this hood section, again that will frame the face, which will give us then another perspective of how the finished figure's going to look. Okay, so you might again go back in to adjust the skin tones once this has all been framed off. So yeah, okay, right. So I'm going to let that go off, and then we'll come back and we'll carry on with a bit more general painting, touching up, and then we'll do like his 5 o'clock shadow. Obviously got to paint his eyes in, and then just bring out more definition around the face. Probably deeper shadows, bit of red tones around the nose, cheeks, and obviously paint his lips in. So, okay. So it's time to give this fella some life. As you can see, I've started to just put a bit of blood flow around his nose and around his cheeks. Okay, all I've been using for that is this shade here. It's like a pinky, peachy shade, dark peach. Right. So again, thin coat, nice and thin. You don't want thick consistency. There you go, look. As you can see when I draw it back, that's how thin we are. You know, I'd say quite glazed consistency, but as you can see on the, as you can see there on the, let's have a look. Get your camera. Move my water out the way. There, you know, we're very, very thin. So what we'll do is we'll unload the water, excess water. Okay, so we've got full control of the paint, and then what we'll do is just a nice tapping motion. Just dots and dashes, just building it up. Build the opacity up. Alright, coming to this side. Don't forget what I said earlier, this will die back once it's fully dry, so if it looks a bit strong to begin with, just leave it to properly go off. Okay. And this is the part where you bring your figure to life. Just tap a bit under there. Under the chin. So again, they've got initial blood flow going to the nose, into the cheeks, and I've just put it around the chin. So the next step is, again, what you're going to be doing for, you know, is now go backwards and forwards, touching in with highlights or the mid-tone, or again with any of your shadow tones, just to get it to a point where you're happy, basically, where you can look back and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm content. So again, I'm just going to now go and touch this up where I feel it needs, again, highlights bringing forward, shadows going back, or more blood flow, or just blending in as well, because there's nothing really been blended at the minute. It's just some general tones that's gone down. So Okay. Just using little tapping motions with the brush. There's not a lot of paint on the, you know, it's all on the tip. And like I said, it's very diluted. All we do is just do little tiny dots, and then little tiny dots will join up and just make a nice blend. Okay. So moving on to the lips. Again, I've used, come back in, this tone again to base the lips up, and then we're going to take a bit more of a lighter tone. Just unload the brush, and again, just all we're doing is just tapping it on the lips. Okay, I want it to look like he's wearing lipstick. Obviously lip colour is different to general skin colour. And then just lightly tapping it in. And that will just blend the lips in with the rest of the face. Again, if you so wish, you can put more highlights in one side or whichever side again you've got your light source coming from. I'm just going literally, I know he's got his helmet on, but obviously you're going to have to exaggerate the face, but obviously I'm just going from 12 o'clock high, so it's just a general zenithal straight on top for this figure. I've not quite mastered the 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Yeah, that's an old new different skill set. So highlight tone again, really thin. So you paint that thin, you can just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you, I've just stressed before, till you're happy with where you're at. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this now to fully cure, fully dry, let it all settle down, and then I'll probably come back again, do a bit more refining, you know, probably bring a bit more of the nose out. Obviously, like I said before, I've got the eyes to do, so sketch the eyes in, and then just carry on with the rest of the figure. Okay. So here's where we are at the minute with the face. I've done a little bit more work on the highlighting, just on the cheeks and the top of his chin for this. Bring the camera back out a bit. There we go. So I put a bit of stencil which is a Panzerracer's colour, and a light flesh, which again is a Panzerracer's colour. So that one's just separate. You can see how much yellow's in that. So again, I've just been making a little mix. So really, really light flesh colour, very thin. So that sort of consistency, and just really touching in on the nose again, and his eyebrows, as you can see. Just wanted to blend in sort of the red pinky colours that I put on the nose. You know, just to show the cold and on his cheeks. So also what I have done as well, which is, again, I'll just bring the camera in a smidge. I've just blocked in the eyes. Again, I've used a light flesh colour. Don't use white. If you look at people's eyes, they aren't white. A really light flesh colour normally does it. I'll give it, you know, enough of a tint of a general eye colour. I think what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to apologise for this, is actually paint the eyes off camera. I don't think there's any way I can do this size figure on cam with how my setup is. So what I think I plan on doing on a later video is I'll use something like a bust, like this guy here who's bigger, and do a demo on how I paint eyes. Now, you know, I've said it before, I am learning figure painting, so this is all a massive learning curve for me. But again, I'll just show you how I do it, and you know, if that helps somebody, then all good. So I think the next step with this guy is I'm going to leave the face as is. I think there is some more blending. It looks a bit gnarly on the cam and a bit rough at the minute, but I'm going to let all that settle down, fade back like I said before, because that is the thing with acrylics. Again, after a couple of days, it'll all fade back. And I'm going to start, take his helmet off, painting the hood parts and starting with the uniform. And then again, we can go back to the face, because like again I was saying earlier, it will show up where it needs work once he's been highlighted. So okay, so we'll leave this part of the video here, and then when we come back, we'll start, like I say, with the hood part and parts of the uniform. Okay.